which include starting from the Vedas, Puranas, and many Samhitas, as well as Shastras, are not only philosophical texts, but also contain a lot of practical wisdom which is relevant today. And if people are made to understand what is written by our ancient sages many thousand years ago, and to appreciate that what they wrote and what they preached has got relevance even today's times. It is not just to understand that ancient wisdom and to improve our knowledge, but to utilize that in fulfilling our social obligations. That essentially is the purpose of this Hindu genius meetings that we have. Our first program was on the first Saturday of September, and it was on India's heroism in liberating Haifa, port city of Haifa in Israel, at the end of the First World War. The speakers were Varshatai Kolatkar and Simon Herzl. After that, in October, again on the first Saturday of October, we had a talk by Shri Shekhar Duttji, who is the ex-defense secretary and also the ex-governor of Chhattisgarh. And he spoke on Atmanirbharta in the Indian Army. And this talk was followed by India-US relations by Manan Dwivedi. From November onwards, we had fortnightly programs. On the first Saturday, we were fortunate to have Major General B.S. Jaswalji, who spoke on Indo-China relations. And on the third Saturday of November, we had Dr. Sandeep Singh Ji speaking on management principles in India. In this month of December, on the first Saturday, we had Shri Anand Pawar Ji speaking on the Marathas in Balochistan. And this was followed by a talk on India's contribution to the internet and 5G technology by Shri Suresh Krishnaswamy Ji. So these were the programs that we had on 5 previous occasions. Today is our 6th occasion, and it gives me great pleasure in welcoming Shri Chandrasekhar Kulkarni, C.R. Kulkarni as he is known, as our speaker for the day. And he is going to speak on the project of Nirmalvari, which I will leave to him to explain in detail. Essentially, I will just explain in 2 lines. Going to Pandharpur to have the darshan of Lord Vithoba, Pandharpur, which is on the banks of river Chandrabhaga, going there in the month and getting the darshan of Lord Vithoba on the eve of the Ashadi Ekadashi has been a tradition which goes back to over 700 years. People from wherever they are, from various villages and places in Maharashtra and beyond, and try to reach Pandharpur on that particular day for its darshan. That is what he's going to speak on, and his contribution in providing sanitation services for all the pilgrims, or the lakhs of pilgrims who go there on that Wari. Sri Chandrasekhar Kulkarni is a qualified metallurgist from the College of Engineering, Pune, and also a management graduate from Pune University. He has had a very successful career for the last 30 years in the steel industry. He has worked in Tata Steel Europe from London for 3 years as General Manager Sales, and is presently working in Tata Blue Scope Steel in Pune as Chief of Sales for the last 5 years. He is widely traveled in Southeast Asia, Australia, and Europe for business. And while pursuing a very successful professional career, he has also tried his very best to fulfill his social obligations and responsibilities. He is the founding member of Seva Sahyog Foundation an NGO in Pune and Mumbai, which works in the educational and health sectors for women empowerment since 2005. He is also the executive member of Seva Vardhini Pune, which is a grassroots NGO working in the water and sanitation in rural areas, and he is associated with it since 2007. He is also the treasurer of Pune Vaidyakiya Seva Sanshodhan Sanstha, an NGO working in the health sector with one fully equipped diagnostic center and a proposed hospital in Pune, and is also associated with the Seva International, which is an NGO working in several countries across the world. So may I now request Sri Chandrasekhar Kulkarni ji, please begin his talk and enlighten us on his project of Nirmalvari. Chandrasekhar ji, over to you.
Dhanyawad Ashish ji. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Yes. Yes. I'll project Nirmalvari. Before that, I just take a few seconds and would like to share the presentation, which will basically the something which we can hold on just for a moment, please. Let me know if you all can see this.
Yes, it is. Yes, we can see it now.
Yes. So this presentation is
Chandrasekhar ji, can you please have a slideshow or make it a full screen so that the sidebar goes away and the image is a little larger, please.
Just check.
No, because the sidebar is actually reducing the main image of the slide.
I'm just trying to do that.
Yeah. If it is possible, otherwise.
Yeah, it is. It is just. You all see this?
Yeah, we can see this.
It's now in the proper shape, or
no, it's still the same. But anyway, I think maybe if you go to layout, it will.
So it's not taking that.
Okay.
Or
never mind.
Shall I disconnect and Ashish ji, would you like
No,
to
it's
share
okay.
that?
It's okay. Doesn't matter. It's a little small. It's all right. You can continue, Chandrasekhar ji. Please continue.
I request please go to slideshow and say full screen. Slideshow.
Disconnected or?
Yes, now it is coming. Now it is full.
There, you all can see, right?
A slideshow, but your screen sharing.
Yeah, this is okay now.
Yeah.
This okay?
Sure.
No. 1 minute.
Otherwise, Ashish ji, I'll disconnect and yeah.
I will try. Just a minute. Okay, let me just check.
Stop sharing.
Yeah.
That's new normal for us.
1 minute. It will be here now. I'll just. Yeah. It's opening.
Maybe a few seconds.
Yes. Can you see this?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Sorry for the initial hitch. Come to post-COVID new normal. Can you just slide the next?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Is this okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, fair enough. So this is a project which all of us, mostly from Pune, some from Mumbai, got together and started dwelling that something can be done in the Swachh Bharat post 2014 elections, and particularly when there was a clarion call on Swachh Bharat. An NGO called Seva Sahyog, which I am a part of it, have almost 8 to 10,000 volunteers. Mostly the background of all the volunteers are from IT and corporate world. Not necessarily that on Monday to Sunday we work, but it is more of a Saturday, Sunday engagement. Apart from Nirmalvari, the one which became a little bit more popular, we periodically every year distribute school kits for the Seva Vasti or for the slum kids, almost 70 to 80,000 every year. Lots of self-help group of women, particularly from 70 Vastis in Pune. Couple of other activities, including the Sanskar work, where basically you need not donate money, but you can donate your skill and donate your time. That is the theme. And that's how the Seva Sahyog works. So in 2015, we, all the Seva Sahyogis, we call ourselves, got together and said that we certainly can do something in Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So what best we can do? So obviously we all are from Pune, mostly a few of them are from Mumbai. Background of volunteer is of course IT and corporate world. Few of them are obviously from Sangh inspired organizations, not necessarily all. So it is possible that we can have a little bit of large impact on the society, particularly in a Swachh Bharat. So what best? So after a brainstorming, we came to a conclusion that since last 700 years, what Ashish ji said, a Pandharpur Yatra, I'll be using more of a Devanagari script or a Hindi word, particularly where I'll be more comfortable. A pilgrimage is the closest word, but in Maharashtra we call it as a Wari. On Ashadhi Ekadashi, almost 1.5 million people get together to take darshan of Lord Vithuraya and Rukmini. But they do not assemble straight to the Pandharpur. They walk for almost 21 to 23 days. The participants, which we call it as a Varkari, are mostly from the rural background. And there is a tradition, there is a set of tradition that Sant Jnaneshwar and Sant Tukaram Palki, which basically travels along with them and reaches Pandharpur on Ashadhi Ekadashi. and people get together mostly in Alandi, Dehu, and majority in Pune. And then they travel 21 days. They walk, in fact. And the numbers are 400,000 to 500,000 in Tukaram Palki and almost 500 to 600,000 Warkari in Alandi Palki. And obviously, if they are walking, they block the road, which you all are aware of. They'll have to put up a night stay. The stays are well marked. And then early next morning, they start again walking for the next destination. And that's how they cover the distance. So this is as far as the Pandharpur Yatra is concerned or a Wari is concerned. But where I would like you to dwell on is that even in the United Nations, and this is what the slide speaks, the first slide, there are almost 17 development goals have been finalized in 1995. Obviously, no poverty, clean energy, climate actions, various 17 goals. And the sanitation is very much a part. Clean water and sanitation is very much part of a United Nations Charter. So from a global view, let's move to Pune. Nirmalvari. Slide, please. So it is not only Ashadi Wari, which is in Maharashtra, which I'll be dwelling upon more in coming slides. But in Maharashtra, various yatras are there, where basically people assemble in a large number, which basically triggers a sanitation requirement. In India, Chardham Yatra, Amarnath Yatra, Tirupati, Sabrimala, Kumbh Mela, we all are aware, where millions of people gather for few days. It is impossible for any government or it is impossible for any establishment to build a permanent toilets. The toilets which will be used only for a day or a two out of 365 days. Worldwide, of course, there is a tomato festival in Spain, lots of matches, very large music concerts, mostly in Johannesburg. And in all this developing economy or a developing world, a well-maintained, thoroughly oiled sanitation system is very much in place. But somehow in Maharashtra, this was absent, or this was absent till 2014-15. Next slide, please. So all our volunteers got together and we said that we should take the ownership of at least one or two destinations. With our engineering background, excellent supply chain, logistic background, we all can give some sort of a solution and got engaged with the government. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is the map. The Wari or the pilgrim starts from Dehu, comes to Pune and reaches to Pandharpur. The another yatra, next day it starts from Alandi and reaches to Pandharpur. And both these Palki, they get together at a small town called Wakri near Pandharpur. There are almost 30 night stops, and you will surprise the population of villages. For example, Yavat is 50,000, 45, 46,000, whereas the night halt of Warkari is almost 400,000. So you can imagine the challenge of the sanitation, and hence it's happening since last 70, 80 years that whenever the Palki comes to Yavat, Loni Kalbor, Jezuri, Saswat, the entire villages, they leave their houses and return after 15 days. They migrate. And for that particular day or a night, the local administration uses school, colleges, hardly any. And see the impact, colossal impact on the environmental, health, mostly Warkaris from a rural background, which I have said, go to the open space for a open defecation. And we all have seen this. If one can really think through this seriously, it's something which we should have arrested, should have stopped way back in 1920s, 1930s. Somehow we have also ignored it. Of course, there is a religious sentiment which is very, very vital. But neither government nor NGOs thought through that what best alternative can be given instead of school, colleges stay. And they put up a tent, and rest all, particularly the discipline of that Wari is well maintained. They all are aware how many members are there. There's a fixed time at what time they get up, what time they have their own bhajans, and where to stop next. Everything is well disciplined, except the toilet. Next slide, please. So initially we said that let us adopt 2 villages where we can do some sort of a pilot. We ourselves contracted the mobile toilet manufacturer and a trader. Managing the mobile toilets, particularly when the yatra is on, is an Herculean task because the roads are closed. So obviously you will have to ensure that the toilets are reached a day before the next stop. The water arrangement with the municipal government, municipal authority needs to be in place. They start walking at around 4:30 to 4:30, 4:45. So obviously the electricity, power, motor pump, particularly for the water, should be in place. And the choice of toilet, particularly the toilets, suppose if you might have seen in metros, whether it is Pune or Mumbai, the toilets vans are very much there, but then you'll have to take 2 or 3 steps to reach there. And for an old person, it becomes very, very difficult. Inside the toilet, it needs to be properly illuminated, since you are looking at the timing at around 3 o'clock to 3 to 4:30. Abundantly clear. So it will be used only for 2 hours to maximum 2.5 hours. thousands of people will be using it. So the availability of water and water tanker is also very much required, needs to be in place a day before. And then the Wari moves to the next destination, they call it Mukam, maybe to Saswad. Then the second set of toilet needs to be there in the place a day before. Obviously, lots of slurries will be there. That needs to be collected from the various toilets. And you also should have a proper mechanism to dispose of that slurry. So from a supply chain perspective, the challenge was humongous. Few of our team members having a strong background of supply chain got involved into it. Those from a water irrigations got into that division. And this is not the only thing. So what we learned in these two villages, the pilot, was that आप कितने भी टॉयलेट्स वहां रखिए, बरसों की आदत है that the Warkaris, the villagers, at 3 o'clock in the morning, from their rahuti or from their tent, they will not go there if it is at a 300 meters away from it. Again, they will find some open plot, which is there in any case. So it was difficult for us to fathom that in spite of having the equipment in place, for which we did our study for almost 6-7 months, survey, contacting the various villages where the mukams, the destinations are there, the local authorities, सरपंच, and informing them that कि अभी आप गांव वालों को बोलिए कि गांव छोड़ के जाना नहीं है. These mobile toilets will be there and we will. नहीं वो तो गवर्नमेंट भी बोलती है, but आते नहीं है. अगर आए तो लाइट नहीं है, लाइट है तो पानी नहीं है. So obviously once maximum one toilet can be used by one person, and if the water is not there, it will not get cleaned. So we said that नहीं, हम उसकी पूरी जिम्मेदारी ले रहे हैं. We will do the testing. We have done the proxy and shadow testing. The employees are very much there, and more important, the volunteers are there. So next slide, please. This is basically the data which gives you the size of the problem and the solution of the problem. Almost 28,000, 30,000 temporary toilets went up to 33,000. But look at the second row. And that is very, very important, which I said that a hard infrastructure by organizing toilets, water, electricity, water tanker is not sufficient. We mobilized almost 9,000 to 10,000 volunteers spread across the 30 destinations. So obviously the same team cannot complete in Yawat and also reach Wakri. Particularly volunteers means the Palki arrives at around 6:30, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the evening, and next day early morning at 4:30 they have to leave. So they are there in that town for almost 10 hours. And 10 hours, 400,000 people on each route. So we are talking of 800,000 people. So the volunteer force also has to be divided. The volunteers have to go to the Rahutis and particularly they have their bhajan, sangeet in the night after dinner. And we have to ensure that the announcement is made that कल सुबह 4:30 बजे हम निकलने वाले हैं, 3 बजे नहाना होगा, या जिसे भी शॉप को जाना है उनके लिए यहाँ टॉयलेट रखे हुए हैं, इसी टॉयलेट में ही आपको जाना है, बाहर जाना नहीं है. Because most of the warkaris are attending this yatra since last 20 years, 25 years, few of them are 30 years. I myself have encountered a old man since last 42 years uninterrupted. He was doing this yatra. So aadat lagi hui hai, so they know that there are no toilets. So obviously they have to manage their own in the open plot and the ground or somewhere near where the light is not there. And then obviously the open defecation takes place and then the smell. So the volunteers were spread across. The Prabodhan was continually done by them. Placards in Marathi vernacular languages was very much in place. Announcement. And you can imagine a small village, 50,000, 75,000 village population. And the night stay is almost 400,000. So it is disproportionate. It's very, very difficult for anyone to manage the sanitation in such a small square kilometer area. Obviously, then another big issue is that the gents and ladies' toilets have to have some sort of a difference because most of the old ladies do not like to go even nearby the gents' toilet. So that correction we took it in 2016. 2016 learning we implemented in 2017. So the impact of this is obviously the reduced migration post-Wari. I'm talking about migration of the town where the Wari used to come for all-night halt. Ayurvedic doctors in that area or a BMS, BHMS, some allopathic doctors in that villages, they used to say that after the Wari Mukkam, we used to get complaints on the medical cases because of the hygiene. Now they are down by almost 75% as open defecation is avoided. We managed the volunteers in the couple of first few years, taking the volunteers from Pune, NSS, NCC, Vishwa Hindu Parishad, various Ramakrishna Mission. But we were very much clear that this volunteer participation from Pune to various 30 locations should be stopped because the town themselves should own that responsibility. Not that the volunteers from Pune will come and they will be there throughout the night doing prabodhan of the Warkaris, and that they will expect that every year the Pune volunteers or Pune Seva Sahayogis will come. So somehow we wanted that the message should go to the town that it is you who also can do this. Parallelly, we were also lobbying with the government. Huge challenge because for a water and electricity, you have no option but to depend on the local body, whether it is village, Gram Panchayat, Jilla Parishad, CEO of a Jilla Parishad. So for that we went and met Honorable Chief Minister, Palak Mantri, And we told them that this is something which we are doing it. We are contributing it. We are donating. Couple of industrialists are donating for one night halt charges of that toilet. But going forward, a government should get into this and they should make this a strong template. Obviously, I would like to say that, in fact, when we were interacting closely with the various government officers, they thought that we all are interested in the tenders of the toilets, which is the last thing we wanted. And they said, अरे क्या आपको टेंडर चाहिए क्या? वो हम करा लेंगे ना. आप एक काम करके आप गवर्नमेंट को बोलिए कि परमानेंट टॉयलेट रखिए. So that was something which is a showstopper for us, because permanent toilet, government investing for a permanent toilet for a usage of one night. And then who will maintain that for another 364 days? Who will do the water connections? That also needs to be in permanent. Who will do the slurry decomposing? But obviously, in India, we have some sort of a vested interest. Politicians at the same time vested interest, some government officials also, and they were asking us, they were pushing us that you push for permanent toilets, which we explained to the few senior IS officers, and they agreed that you have no option but to rely on the mobile toilets. The only issue is managing mobile toilets, particularly if the yatra is proceeding on an everyday basis, particularly they are walking, so they are blocking the road. So movement of the toilet one night before, and particularly where it gets over, then you need to empty that, and again you should go for a third destination. So this supply chain management, if someone does it with a proper template, it is easy. Most of us are from corporate background, and we know that it is very much effective. With higher efficiency, we can do that with less cost. Obviously, then, apart from volunteers, students participated, and you will see the first year 2015, hardly 3 villages participated. 2016 onwards, villagers themselves started seeing the benefit of this. Overall, 118,000 toilets were deployed. This is more of a summation, but just to give you that 30,000 toilets at 30 locations every night, managing that is the key here. Awareness was created. Just to give you the numbers, we spent almost 516,000 hours doing Prabodhan. Obviously, necessarily, you need to have a woman's wing. They can communicate with the ladies. And this model certainly is replicable, is being replicated across India. Next slide, please. So just to give you the sense of how this project was carried out, almost 7 months of planning. So obviously you can't have a planning only sitting in Pune. So you need to be in various locations where the yatra is proceeding. So generally in the month of June or July, Ashadi Wari takes place or starts. So you need to start from January onwards. 33 mukkams, the destinations, survey was conducted. And then you need to have not only one meeting, but 3-4 meetings with every mukkam. And then the proposal was sent to government officials, various organizations, mobilizing 10,000 volunteers. In the beginning of the projects, first few years, we had decided that we will mobilize 9,000 of volunteers. Obviously, you need to have some sort of a traveling buses, food for volunteers, particularly in that town, wherever they are going, whether it is Saswad, Yavat, Loni, Kalgor. You also have to have make some arrangement of stay there. And the bigger challenge was that the planning for even disinfectant, spreading, and the Rangoli, that's more of a Hindu tradition. At a Walwant, that's desert in Chandrabhaga, which Ashishji was talking, where the Pandharpur is situated. People virtually used to walk, closing their nose. And then we ensured that we will celebrate this with proper Rangoli. Lots of training was inbuilt into the entire project. WhatsApp messages, WhatsApp groups of local various mukkams. The trainer approach was also there because that can be replicated across the destinations. And which is very important is that training government staff for actual deployment also. Because in the morning at 3 o'clock, if I enter into a toilet and the water is not there, subsequently, people will open the door of that toilet and they don't go there. And again, they go to the open plot. So government employees are less bothered. So if the toilet is not clean, continuously water force is not there, you need to have a water tanker with a proper force and which is continuing every 15 minutes, because basically it is hardly 1.5 hours activity. If you really see 3 to 4:30, 3 o'clock in the morning to 4:30, and you have to ensure that almost 400,000 people are done with it, and then they start working for the next destination. Obviously, a war room was set up in Pune. Various feedbacks, reporters, newspaper reporters, television were very much involved into this, and that's how the flight was done. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we basically fought on this 5 front: managing village level arrangement, managing volunteers, managing users, managing vendor, managing government machinery. Of course, managing village level arrangement became much smoother after 2 years. Managing volunteers got reduced because the village level participation increased. And most of the time now, particularly now in 2009, of course, last year, this year we couldn't have, but last year, Warkaris have also understood that now this provision is being maintained at every mukkam. Managing users, I'll give you one example. Maybe this was told to me by an NSS lady student girl, that when she was telling one granny, she asked her, she's a volunteer from Pune, national, this NSS volunteer, and then she came out from the toilet and asked in Marathi, "Are aaj basaयचं कसं? How do I sit inside?" The name of the name of the girl I still remember is Varsha Kalande, and she said, "I got a shock of my life that जो मोदी साहब कर रहे हैं स्वच्छ भारत, वो कितना जरूरी है that a post 70-year-old granny is asking me कि अंदर जाके बैठना कहाँ से, मुंह इस तरफ करके बैठना है या मुंह इस तरफ करके बैठना है. I never sat. Of course, this is something not to be told with a very pride, but I'm just saying that we, having a background of a corporate, we have never come across. We never come across this because we assume lots of things. We assume that the संडास नहीं है, but वो संडास कम है, कुछ घरों में नहीं है, तो they obviously club and pull it together, but it is not so in distant villages. Managing vendor. The managing vendor, once it becomes a government assignment, they work with tenders. Obviously, then the vendor, they select only L1 based vendor, so only one vendor is there. So the supply chain, if doesn't happen smoothly, the entire project gets conked off. We have suggested to the government that you need to have a couple of vendors, particularly if the Wari period and Kumbh or any other religious congregation clubs together, even the toilet providers also struggle to provide the toilets because managing through truck from one destination to another destination, and some other, for example, in North Kavod Yatra is there, or in some South, if Ayyappa Yatra is there, it becomes difficult for them also. So obviously then some sort of a planning has to happen in the month of January with the government officials. Managing government machinery, unless thanks to Honorable Prime Minister's mission of Swachh Bharat, some amount of fear was very much inbuilt when we started discussing. But otherwise, it is very, very difficult that the government machinery gets into an action, because for them, it has happened couple of times. I remember particularly in the Saswad, when the water stopped midnight, and then we had to wake up irrigation department. Then he was not cooperating, so we had to wake up the CEO of that Jilla Parishad. He rushed. And it is not only one tanker, you have various tents at various locations for a city like, for a town like Saswad, which is, I guess, maybe 125,000 population. You have to have something like 8 or 9 tankers running parallelly, again between 3 to 4:30. So government machinery also has to fall in line if we need to achieve some sort of a success. Next slide, please. So this is basically the outcome. It is Rangoli in the Walwant. It is Rangoli in the desert, which never happened. And now every year it is happening. And I'm sure this will continue. Next slide, please. This will give you some sort of sense that what next. The slurry gets collected. On an average, it takes 40 days to decompose the slurry. You need to pick that slurry, drop it in the next town or in between, either in an open pit, because not everywhere the mechanized system is there. So it puts for thought for us that the kind of a pollution we are doing, and 21 days Wari becomes strain on the pollution. Obviously, the next step has to be some sort of a slurry processing plant. Rest are the numbers just to give you the sense. Next slide, please. Is the work over? No, and it's capital NO. Need to have some sort of an end-to-end sanitation system. This is only the beginning. This is the first step by Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Need to empty, transport, treatment, reuse, either for a fertilizer. And this is something which is multiple opportunities are very much there. What we are now doing is just putting it in under the open pit. So something which need to carry forward. Next slide, please. This is a little bit of a global picture. It only says that importance of water and sanitation. Next slide, please. Right. So lots of R&D opportunities. Why can't we have a toilets inbuilt water? Toilet with one or two flushing liquid versus solid waste separately. And particularly managing this peak load. Need to have some sort of a sewage line. This, of course, can be clubbed with the COVID hospitals which are there now in Pune or Bombay. Why can't we have that as an inbuilt city design parameter? Whether it is a flexible sewage line or a foldable sewage plants. Just to tell you that we also contacted Bindeshwar Pathak. He is the one who started this movement, Sulabh Sauchalay, in case you have heard his name. Most of the town, most of the cities, you have to pay 1 rupee or 5 rupees, I guess, I don't know. But Bindeshwarji Pathak, very well-known person. And in this entire our project, Mr. Pradeep Rawat, who was an ex-member of Parliament of Pune, he was our mentor. I was, of course, one of them, but the core team itself was of almost 35-40 people. We had consulted Madhavrao Chitrale, Bindeshwar Pathak, couple of other experts, particularly in this sanitation line, those who are in business. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just a, next slide. Yeah, I can just show you the thoughts. Yeah. So I was talking about the smart mobile toilet, something which we had recommended this Pune Municipal Corporation. GPS-based tracking, SMS-based complaint booking also can be enabled. Cleanliness and transport can be outsourced. Not necessarily government should get into it. And you can utilize the buses and trucks chassis to build portable toilets. And obviously the truck buses manufacturers also can help. We can extend the CSR corporate social responsibility budgets to these manufacturers also. Railway coach like toilets can be used to minimize water usage. In entire Swachh Bharat, and that is something which government is well aware, is that constructing toilet is 20% of the total problem. Managing continuous water is something which is 70-80% of the problem. Next slide. So this is something which one of my colleague, Narendra Vaishampayan, he had designed it, works in Infosys, and it was presented that in one bus itself we can have some sort of a female section, male sections. Next slide, please. So the slurry tank is at the bottom and the water tank is at the top. So this is something where you can use it in the metro. And I'm happy to tell you all that Pune Municipal Corporation, not that we have a patent for this design, but Pune Municipal Corporation is using it. Again, the challenge here is that if the step height is a little odd, it becomes very difficult for an old man, old woman to get into that bus or get into that toilet. And hence, it needs to be as flat to the floor as much as it is possible. Next slide, please. So you can use such mobile vans and advertise and get money. Next slide. So you also can earn some sort of a revenue. Next slide, please. So Pune Municipal Corporation has deployed. These are the 10 vans. That's it. I think I'm done with it, I guess.
Are you?
Yeah, so enough of monologue with the genius crowd. So dialogue, please. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you very much, Chandrasekhar ji, for this extremely enlightening talk and the arrangements that have been made to solve a persistent and a huge problem. If there are any questions, I would request all participants to just put their questions down in the chat box so that we can take them in a order. If that is possible for everyone, just type your questions in the chat box as far as possible so that I can have a look at them and we don't repeat the questions and we can take them in an order. Actually, I would like to ask you one question, Chandrasekhar ji. What happens when the Warkaris go back? How do they go back? Do they go back by bus to their villages?
No,
again?
they don't walk. No,
they
don't
don't
walk. They go by bus. They go by bus. Maharashtra government organizes MSRTC.
Yeah.
Buses.
Yeah. Yes. If there are any questions. And how many?
I am Ravi.
Yes, Ravi ji, please.
What is the status before COVID? 2019, was it managed by our volunteers or government is putting their men?
2019 partial volunteers were there, but not all the Mukkams. Because Raviji, we had decided in the beginning itself that the first few years we will do this proto, we will show them, but it is also incorrect on a villager's part that the volunteers in Pune will come and clean their sheets. So it is they who should get involved in the project. And now Loka Sahabag has increased. That is what I can broadly tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Were all the volunteers from Pune city itself, or did you get any volunteers from the neighboring cities or anywhere else?
Organizing volunteers was we had asked Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad for students. We had asked Vishwa Hindu Parishad. We had asked Seva Arogya team because even in the Wari you need some sort of a mobile doctors. Couple of from Solapur, particularly if from to reach Pandharpur, Solapur is near, so obviously they used to come. From Satara also used to come. A couple of course, Mumbai team had taken an interest. Kishorji Moghe was there. Sanjay Hegde. They had brought. They generally bring one vehicle. Some 20-30 volunteers reach there in the 6 o'clock. Obviously, then the Wari has already reached there, and then start Prabodhan till midnight, 3 o'clock. So the action point is basically time is 6 to 7 o'clock in the night to 3 o'clock in the morning.
We have a question from Shiva Subramaniam ji, and he would like to know if there has been any discussion on the use of dry toilets to reduce water consumption.
It so happened that lots of university professors and people, those who are basically doing PhDs, approached us independently, and they suggested various things. But understand, they used to follow us, but it is difficult to take it on a face value for such a mass consumptions and organization. In fact, an organization called Vinyan Bharti, they said that at least we have developed one powder which, if you can throw it on the slurry, the smell will reduce disproportionately. We tried that, but again they were saying that the basic question was, who will throw it on slurry? Because that obviously then the respective organizations will not come. So obviously all the volunteers. So then they said, oh, we can do it in one thing, we can add it in the water itself. So lots of, I would say lots of opportunity for R&D is still there.
Any number you are specific about women volunteers and male and female volunteers?
By design, we used to ensure that a large number of women volunteers are there. By design. The reason being that particularly the old Gramin Mahila, they do not like me going them and talking something about morning rituals. So in fact, we had trained Mahilas, the ladies, and they used to tell them in the night after satsang and bhajan कि कल सुबह 3 बजे आपको इसी टॉयलेट में जाना है, अगर आप नहीं जाएंगे तो वो जो लाइट है वो टीवी कैमरा में आप आ जाओगे अगर ओपन प्लॉट पे नहीं गए तो, you know, then they used to rush to toilets.
Any further question? Anybody else? Dubey ji, anything from your side? Yes, sorry. Please go ahead. Malika ji, please go ahead.
So may I ask?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
So that earlier villagers would just manage their own houses and stay away for 10-15 days and come back to their houses only after that. Now, is that happening now, or now it is stopped?
Drastically reduced. The reason being, even for them also it is very inconvenient. Family of Yavat going and staying in Pune somewhere in or the next destination and then managing that crowd, because please also understand that the roads are blocked, by the way. Highways are fully blocked. So you have to go, the entire families have to take the inroads and stay there, and not only one night, no, it is almost 10-15 days.
Yes.
How do they manage during the rainy season when it starts raining heavily?
It is. Of course, in all these activities are happening thick of the rain sometimes. No issue.
So these mobile toilets function quite well even during the rains.
Very much. See, in fact, after 1 year we came to know कि टॉयलेट दे के मतलब नहीं, टॉयलेट कहाँ रखाना, कहाँ लगाना. अच्छा, टॉयलेट लगाना तो उसके ऊपर वो स्टेप कितनी बड़ी रखनी. अगर आपने थोड़ी सी, if you take the step of some hardly 1 feet or a little less than 1 feet, the old man will not go there. Again, he'll come up to the stair and then he'll go to the open plot again, nearest open plot in the night. So the location of the toilet, and continuous light and continuous water. Not necessarily, these all are Indian type, obviously, no doubt about it. Most of the guys were not, most of the folks were not knowing how to use it. That's separate. But then subsequent to that, and that is funny part, I can tell you. So ये सब होने के बाद में the villagers and Warkari also started telling, अच्छा ये काम कर देना, आपने जहाँ टॉयलेट रखा है ना वहीं एक जरा थोड़ा सा पार्टीशन करके नहाने की भी सुविधा कर लो ना. फिर वो नहा के फिर वहीं के वहीं ब्रेकफास्ट करने चले जाएंगे और सुबह 4:30 बजे निकलना है.
Anybody else with any questions? Srinivasan ji has joined us from Madurai. I can see that on the screen. And Taniga has joined us from France. If you have any questions or you would need any clarifications, please feel free to ask.
Again, Ravi Kumar.
Yes, Ravi ji.
Has it ever drawn the attention of any foreign news media, etc.?
No. I guess no. No. To be honest, no. And neither, in fact, even local vernacular media was also following us. But I don't know. That's our DNA problem. We also have not really got into it. But Marathi news channels they will come to track the development, because Namami Gange was the project which was initiated by Mr. Mungattiwar, like Namami Gange. So he was there. There is a lot of attention, very much there, no doubt about it. But foreign news, at least news channels, no. I do not recall.
Yeah, because this might be of interest, because they always cover the Kumbh Mela now. I think every 2.5 years when it is being held, they have realized that it is a very creditable administrative and management issue. So I'm sure if this also, because providing toilets for just use for one day and then providing them along the route for 21 or 25 days, I think that has not caught their attention as yet. But I think it is worth covering and studying as to how to organize such a providing such facilities year after year, and that too on a voluntary basis. That is more important,
sure,
rather than the government or administrative basis.
Sure.
Yeah. Anybody else with any questions? Well, if nobody has any questions now, may I just make an announcement for the benefit of everyone. This is another program which is coming up on the eve of our Ramanujam's, in his memory, the mathematician Ramanujam. I will just read out the contents of the program for you, and I hope all of you can join in that very important program. It is called Maths Genius Ramanujam, and it is on Tuesday, 22nd of December at 2:45 in the afternoon onwards, 2:45 p.m. onwards. The meeting is also on WebEx, and the agenda is at the program actually starts at 3 o'clock, with the first speaker being Padma Shri Dr.